killing, serious bodily or mental harm, conditions of life calculated to destroy, preventing births, taking the children. Since 1948, any one of these acts committed with the intent to destroy a national, ethnical, racial, or religious group, in whole or in part, has had a name in the international law. Article 2 of the Genocide Convention, genocide. But the convention has a flaw the Rohingya exposed. Someone has to bring the case. In 2017, Myanmar's military swept through Rakhine State. By the UN's count, thousands killed, hundreds of villages burned, more than 700,000 people driven into Bangladesh. So, is it recognized as genocide? In 2018, a UN fact-finding mission found genocidal intent and called for Myanmar's generals to be prosecuted. In 2022, the United States formally declared it a genocide. But no court had ruled. The Gambia did. A West African nation of 2 million, no border with Myanmar, no citizens harmed, filed at the International Court of Justice in November 2019, arguing the convention makes genocide every signatory's business. 7 years later, in January 2026, the court finally heard the case in full. The first binding judgment on this genocide is now being written. Every genocide has a mechanism, one that prepares the ground decades ahead of the violence.
Gross violations of the human rights of the Rohingya seems a textbook example of ethnic cleansing.
Sometimes the mechanism is a story about blood, about purity, about who belongs and who does not. At other times, it takes the form of the paperwork, the documentation and bureaucracy of belonging.
Denying citizenship should be considered a warning sign that genocide is more likely in that place.
This is a citizenship card in Myanmar. It's proof you have rights, a place in the system. Without it, you're not just undocumented. You're locked out of the protections that make a person visible to the state.
The earliest signs of the genocide against Rohingyas is a pattern, a recognizable pattern of destruction or erasure of Rohingya identity as an ethnic group.
In 2017, more than 700,000 Rohingya Muslims were driven from Myanmar. At least 6,700 people were killed in the first month of the military crackdown, while hundreds of villages were burned across Rakhine State. Salima is one person, a single piece of data in a system that was built long before the bomb that killed her husband. The question here is not simply what happened, but how it became possible. How can a government erase a people, legally, systemically, before anyone raises a hand to stop it?
My grandfather's younger brother was deputy commander in charge of the entire Western Myanmar, where Rohingyas have ancestral root.
Rakhine State is on the western edge of Myanmar, a narrow strip of land between the Arakan Mountains and the sea.
You can go back 2 millennia, and you find the ancestors of the current Rohingya community are present on those lands. They're an indigenous community in Myanmar.
The court in the ancient capital of Maraku issued coins inscribed with both Buddhist and Islamic symbols. Muslim communities have been documented in the Arakan region since at least the 15th century during the Maraku period. The British colonial census of 1891 documented them. When Burma became an independent nation, the Rohingya were part of it.
They were recognized as full and equal citizens of, at the time, what is called the Union of Burma in 1948, when we became independent from colonial Britain.
Under the Citizenship Act, many Rohingya were able to obtain citizenship, vote, and take part in public life. While the law did not explicitly name them as an official indigenous race, it provided a legal pathway that, in practice, recognized them as part of the country.
The Myanmar government over many decades has used history as a central plank of its citizenship laws. And then this is fundamentally important to how citizenship is understood in Myanmar.
Those who command power in Myanmar don't see the Rohingya as their equals in any way. To the contrary, they think that they don't belong and shouldn't be in Myanmar.
The Rohingya were increasingly treated outside the category of Burma's recognized national races, and the state's evolving definition of citizenship increasingly excluded them. When General Ne Win seized power in 1962, he didn't just end democracy, he began redefining who counted as Burmese. In practice, the government centralized power and promoted a Burman Buddhist national identity, marginalizing many ethnic and religious minorities. A new constitution and citizenship framework placed the Rohingya outside the nation's recognized races.
So they used this anti-immigration campaign to kick out close to 200,000 Rohingyas from across the Arakan or Rakhine state into Bangladesh.
Then, in 1982, Ne Win's government passed the Burma Citizenship Law. It defines citizenship as being a member of one of the 135 recognized national races. The government considered these to be indigenous to Burma before the British occupation began in 1824.
So by portraying the Rohingya as not part of Myanmar's political fabric before the colonial period, by denying that history, it allows the perpetrators to present the Rohingya as not legitimately entitled to citizenship. And that's what's enabled other crimes against them.
In the years that followed, citizenship became color-coded. Pink for full citizens, blue for associate citizens, and green for naturalized citizens. Many Rohingya found themselves outside the system altogether. They were later offered national verification cards instead that recognized their presence, but not their citizenship.
They were made aliens on their own native land.
In 1995, the Myanmar government introduced a new document, the Temporary Registration Card. It became known as the White Card. It documented Rohingya residents as temporary card holders, but was not proof of citizenship.
Rohingya are pretty jaded by the processes of new identity cards being given to them every couple of years.
For about 20 years, the Rohingya only had this so-called White Card. Then technology changed things.
This was a community that didn't have free press for 50 years. They had access to smartphones and social media.
In June 2012, communal violence spread across Rakhine State and flared again in October.
Myanmar military outsourced the persecution and direct violence against their targeted population Rohingya, who have been subject to the slow-burning genocidal policies of Myanmar military, to local Rakhine Buddhist vigilantes.
Buddhist mobs